Did you know that there are really two types of fruit trees? And I'm going to be sharing with you the secret to evergreens. Josh here. I've been growing fruit trees in the ground for 10 years and I've got hundreds planted. And one of the things that I learned early on is that there's two types of fruit trees, deciduous and evergreen. So deciduous trees are things like apples, peaches, plums, pears, and every year deciduous trees will lose their leaves in the winter and grow new leaves in the summer. Not surprising, everybody knows this, but it's really important for them to go dormant so that they can properly have those chill hours we talked about yesterday, so they can form buds for flowers, which will turn into fruit. And so that's really important that they do go dormant every year, and that's going to push out those new leaves and new growth. So pretty common knowledge there, but evergreens tend to have glossier leaves that last throughout the winter. So those leaves are evergreen. And I've got one behind me here. This is actually a loquat that I planted earlier this spring. It's doing really well in this spot, and it's got these huge evergreen leaves. And what you'll notice about these is that they're glossy, they're firmer, a lot more hardy textured. And deciduous trees, on the other hand, the leaves will be more matte finish. And evergreen fruit trees tend to be more tropical or subtropical in nature. Now, landscaping trees, there's sort of some exceptions to that, like hollies. But when it comes to fruiting bushes, things like loquats, citrus, guavas, I've got some pineapple guavas, and they never lose their leaves, or do they? And so that's the secret. Evergreen trees really do lose their leaves. It's just the leaves live to 2 to 3 years, and they sort of fall from the inside out of the tree. So as the limb gets longer, you'll see some leaf drop from the inside of the tree because those are getting shaded out. And so a lot of times you'll really only get 2 to 3 years out of a leaf on an evergreen tree, and that's fine. So that's why there's some leaf drop. You shouldn't be concerned when you see some leaf drop. As long as it's not complete defoliation of your evergreen fruiting tree, you're probably going to be good. Now, here's a little tip that I wanted to share on deciduous trees. So back to deciduous trees, and that is when they do lose their leaves, let's say you're growing a container fig tree or a container apple tree, you can actually take that container, because it's got no leaves, and put it in a dark place like your crawl space or your basement, or maybe an unheated or cooled shed, and overwinter your deciduous fruiting bushes in containers in those spaces. So I used to do this every year in my crawl space, where I would take my small potted deciduous fruit trees like figs and plums, and I would put them in the crawl space. Now, you still need to water them in the crawl space. So I would go in there once a month and I'd water them just to make sure that those roots stay moist. But the key is that you have to pull them out of the crawl space when they start to break dormancy. Otherwise, you end up with leaves that look like albino leaves, right? They're completely pale colored, and they're going to become really weak branches. So you want to make sure you pull them out of that dark space when they start to break dormancy. So you can take advantage of the growing cycles and type of tree that you've got based on if it's deciduous or evergreen. All right, I hope you found some value in this today. If you want to learn more about growing fruit trees, make sure to follow me and follow along in this challenge where every day I'm going to be sharing insights with you on how to start your home orchard. All right, I'll see you in the next video.